Cliff Richard called for BBC heads to roll, of course, after the court case this week, where he received damages for the news coverage of that raid on his home. And so he called for heads to roll. So we're going to be playing ball with papier-mâché severed heads of various members of BBC management. We've got Fran Hunsworth, head of news, Tim Davies, CEO of BBC Studios, and David Jordan, the director of editorial policy and standards. And we're going to be rolling those across the studio towards a picture of Cliff Richard that we sellotaped to the wall. It's Cliff Richard, BBC Management, heads will roll ball. It's 11:15 now. On the line, though, let's go to the telephones, 0800 756 1111. Is that Trevor on the phone?
Oh, yeah, hello.
Hello,
Hello,
hello, Trevor. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yeah, thanks for asking. The back's a little bit better this week.
Was it
John?
Was it bad last week? I don't recall that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. I suppose I'm one of those people that just sort of assumes that you're sort of, up to date with my life.
Not really, no.
That's who I am.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing is I don't care that much either. I mean it's a sort of a, when I'll be honest with you, when I say sort of how are you, Trevor?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my way of sort of politely segueing in while I'm actually just fiddling with a button on the desk. I'm not really listening to you.
Yeah. Okay.
At all. And that's the local radio way. So.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. You've been honest with me, and I appreciate that, John.
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. So what can we do for you, Trevor?
Well, I gave you a tinkle just now because I thought we were talking about Cliff Richards.
That's right. Very much in the news this week, Cliff Richard, of course. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm a very big fan of Cliff Richards.
Yeah.
And here's, look, John.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
We've all done things, haven't we, that are private, John? Now, I'm not saying Cliff Richards has done anything private ever.
No, he certainly hasn't.
Because he's very wholesome.
Yes.
But we've all got, I took my mum to see Cliff Richards.
That's lovely. What a nice.
Yeah, we went on the time machine tour, John. We saw him in Birmingham.
Right.
The thing is, John, 10 years ago that was.
10 years ago, yeah.
And he hasn't aged. Hasn't aged at all. I said to my mum, right?
Yeah.
I said to my mum, because we were watching the news when it happened, when the raid thing happened.
Yeah.
Me and mum.
This was when, to be clear, for those that don't know, sorry, this is when there was a BBC helicopter hovering over Cliff Richard's house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Massive chopper right over him. And we were watching the news, because me and Mum, we love to cuddle up in bed and watch the news before I go home to the missus. We have crackers in bed.
Right.
Do you do that, John?
Do I pull crackers in bed?
Crackers in bed?
Do you put the funny hat on and little jokes?
Can I say Jacob's cream crackers?
Oh, just sorry. Yeah, okay. Other Jacobs crackers are available.
And then I'll go home to the missus.
Right.
After that, because you should, it's nice. At the end of the day, she's your best friend, isn't she, your mum?
Well, my mum was not your best friend, but anyway,
yeah, not my best.
No.
Anyway,
just to be clear,
John,
yeah, yes.
I said to my old mum there.
Yeah.
I said, Mum, they're probably raiding his attic to see if there's a portrait of him in there, like Muriel Gray.
Yeah.
Because you know that story, don't you? The man, he doesn't grow old, Muriel.
The picture of Muriel Gray, the ex-presenter of BBC Two youth
like
programmes.
A culture show or something.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, well,
probably
that's
the Tube
Richards,
as well.
Isn't it? He's doing his 60th anniversary tour this year, and he looks incredible. Look at his neck.
He does look incredible.
Look at his neck.
I've looked at his neck, and he does look incredible.
The throat on that man.
But it's interesting that you're
considering the use it gets, John.
Suggesting he does use it a lot, doesn't he? And he's used it for a long time.
A lot.
A lot. To be honest, I wonder if I wonder if I mean we should be careful here because you can't say that Cliff Richard does have a portrait of Muriel Gray.
No. I'm saying that in fun. I mean I don't mean that at all. All right.
Right. So how do you think he stays so?
How did he stay so young?
Yeah.
I don't know, John. all kinds of lotions and potions he must rub into himself. I have no idea how he's. Perhaps it's just joy.
Yeah, it could be joy. And he's famously a Christian, isn't he, as well? So it could be joy in the Lord, couldn't it?
It could be joy of the Lord. It could be any of that. I mean, I remember when Dad passed on, and I said to Mum, I said, you should have a go with Cliff. You should, because I know I'm biased, John, but at 78, she is a stunner.
Is she? Does she have Does she have a throat like Cliff? Your mum, your old mum, there, 78 years old. Does she have a?
It certainly had a lot of use, John.
She's a singer as well, is she?
No. Anyway, Mum said, give over, Trevor.
Yeah.
She said, you'd have more like. Oh, can you imagine, John?
Yeah, I don't want to, mate. I don't really want to. So I didn't get where you're calling from.
Wimbledon, John.
You're calling from Wimbledon?
I'm saying, what would Wimbledon be without the reigning Cliff Richards?
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, what was it this year? Just a load of people hitting balls all over the shop.
Yeah. And what? Let's not go there.
That.
So look, the idea that sorry, I didn't get where you were calling in from. Is it Kent? Is it?
Yeah, very much so.
All right, good. Just checking. So look, just go back to this because a lot of Cliff fans appeared on TV this week, and it's good that you took your old mum to see him 10 years ago on the Time Machine tour. Has she your mum long been a Cliff fan? No, I mean, is it something because he sort of invented rock and roll in this country? The British Elvis they called him.
He invented. That's right. He invented thrash metal.
Yes.
He invented crunk, grindcore. He invented all of that stuff.
He invented all of that. Yeah, and people don't know. People don't give him credit for that, do they? That's the
because he was the seed, wasn't it? It was his seed. We go to these sort of we go to these sort of get-togethers.
Yeah,
if you like, John, for Cliff Richards fans.
Yeah,
they're called Cliff Jumps, and we go there and we play like all his best songs. We play Bachelor Boy, Devil Woman, Living Doll, all the ones with questionable attitudes to women, John. And we have a good old knees up. And I'll tell you what, our throats get used.
Do they? Do you?
Mum don't have the stamina for that anymore.
Not anymore, no. How old is she now? 78, is she?
78, she is a stunner.
It's a stunner, is she?
And obviously, I mean, the missus, she don't want to know. She likes all the NWA and all that stuff. So nowadays I go on with Todd.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I don't even make it there myself. Sometimes, John, I might run out of steam. Yeah. At that rest area just off the A3 at the junction with the M25, top from the head example, the Ockham Common car park. Where I generally have a very uncomfortable night.
Just go back to Cliff Richard.
The missus, she's always saying, why do you bother? And I always say, don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah. Well, which again brings you sort of back, doesn't it, to people, not Cliff, but other people having secrets, as you said at the beginning. It's like everybody, we should be entitled, should we not, to a private life. Not Cliff, because he doesn't have one of those.
That's right.
Because he's squeaky and clean, isn't he? He squeaks.
I can confirm he's a squeaker.
So,
do you ever get up that way, John?
I don't.
To the A3 at the junction with the M25, the Ockham Common car park?
I don't, Trevor. Should I, if I'm passing that way...
You should come down.
Should I?
Yeah. Friday or a Saturday night.
Right.
You come down tonight, John.
Busy, actually, so probably won't.
You do meet some very interesting people there.
I bet you do, Trevor.
And there's a car wash just down the road, so...
All right. It's been interesting to talk to you, certainly. It's always good to have, somebody with a sort of a knowledge of when there's a news event, somebody who's got a sort of personal connection to it. And I think, through your 78, is she, your mum, 78?
She is, honestly, she's a stunner. And she's an incredible kisser.
Thanks very much for calling, Trevor. Thank you very much indeed.
All right.
That's great.